Now, my friend Billy Rumble had this, had an autographed copy, in fact. First time I saw this book was in '85. Now, I met Laurence here last night, and he told me he published this one in '83, was it?
79.
'79? Pardon me. He's published these other two since.
Well, that's a newer edition. Originally,
Yeah.
79.
Yeah.
That's the third English edition.
This is the third edition?
Third English. Strictly Rootsman, I tell. And here's his friend, right here. Here she is. See what it says?
Yeah. Richard Evans.
Director of what?
Harvard.
He became very illustrious because of taking classes every year from Harvard University in the ethnobotanical botany departments, ethnobotanical pharmacology, ethnobotanical pharmacology, taking classes every year into the Congo and into the Amazon to study ethnobotanical pharmacology with the natives. And he did that for many years. He's also the person who discovered on the Greek and Italian urns that they used at those orgies. He was the first one who discovered that the artwork on the outside of those urns were grapes and mushrooms. He took Gordon Wasson and Albert Hoffman to meet Maria Sabina. You know who she was? There she is posing for my camera.
Maria Sabina. Oh, she wrote that. Okay, I'm familiar with.
She was the one who brought the mushrooms back to life in the world as we know it
Okay.
in modern times. Albert Hoffman went to see her, and from those mushrooms synthesized LSD and
Okay.
psilocybin.
Okay.
So you can see she's posing for my camera. And I have lots of photos of her and I together with her dog in my lap. Those are the psilocybin mushrooms in her hand that she's posing for my camera.
Wow. We're here with Laurence Cherniak at the Cannabis Expo, downtown Toronto. He published this beautiful hash book, and he's done 3 editions since. And we're here to
No, there are 2 other books.
two
Other books in the that first trilogy. Right, that's them there. So this is book 1, as you see, that's that cover. Book 2 and book 3, and there's the cover for book 3.
Forgive me, Lawrence.
all right.
I've ingested an outstanding amount of hemp oil
no,
today.
it's not that at all. We're trying to be as informative and entertaining to your audience, right?
Oh, thank you.
And educational. So informative, educational, and entertaining.
So where's the best hash?
It's in my back pocket.
Not for long.
Well, I keep making more, of course.
So when you wrote that book, how popular was hash?
It was not popular at all. It was, a very connoisseur product, and of course, it was. You never even spoke about it in Western society, and it, pretty much got me ostracized from everything I was doing, and created a lot of difficulties for a lot of people who, up until then had been close associates or friends of mine. So that changed pretty quickly, and since then, it's interesting how some of them have taken me aside over the years with tears in their eyes apologizing. Wow.
Shame on them.
Yeah, and I have to be gentle and gracious, polite and courteous, and welcome them aboard the cosmic consciousness ship. And that's always fun.
How about this event today?
This is pretty good. It's probably the most positive event since we started having any events like this in Toronto about 6 years ago. However, before people were smoking and imbibing cannabis, and today it's pretty much, only in that vapor lounge area, and that's fine, so that's good. if it's confined to there, that's okay, and makes it fun for some people or anybody who has the time to go over there. And I hope that includes you, Danny.
Illustrations or the coloring books. What's going on here?
Well, it's a way of sharing my, or the world's largest collection of leaves, which numbers well over 300,000 of anything from 1 to 13 bladed leaves, which are demonstrated in the book and focused on showing people that those kinds of images. As you can see in the inside front cover, there's some examples from 1 through to 2s, 4s, 6, 8s, 10s, different bladed leaves, and they have the page numbers where they originate in the book so that you can see them as either green leaves or effects that I've done to them, and still having the grain of the leaf showing through the veins, and in some cases even leaving those grains in, so it makes it, easy and fun for people to color it in. So if you did that with various tones of green, you'd be able to have, what the real effective look is. There's another one, for example. So with different perspectives and distortions or variations in terms of, ways that you would see the leaves, because I've seen so many leaves, like, for example, my study has brought me in touch with this kind of a leaf here, which is extremely rare, and that's the only time I've ever seen that either, which is one of the reasons why I've got it on this banner here, so that you can see how its instincts for survival allow it to do things that people have never seen in nature or in botany before. So that is very, very unique for a cannabis leaf to have done that kind of extension to its ability to survive.
Have you had any trouble with publishing or stores?
No, I do them all myself, because sometimes it just have to be a one-man show, and I can't rely on other people to not edit them or over-sensationalize them, put things out of context, and create things that are just not so, in terms of how they would exploit them for whatever purposes that would, ultimately lead them to be able to, get advertising for themselves or things like that. And I don't have a problem if they do that with my cooperation. Of course, it's fun, because then once again it leads back to the premise of this interview, which was being informative, educational, in an entertaining way. And that way everybody gets to share, having a higher consciousness of the manifestation of the survival, like we were just mentioning, of these leaves and this plant. Because it's been saving the planet for decades. Not that it will save the planet, not that it can save the planet, but it already has been saving the planet for a lot of people.
And where can people get more information?
They can get them information at my name, LaurenceCherniak.com, or at thegreatbooksofhashish.com, for 2 of the dozen sites where, to keep it simple so they don't have to write them down and can just remember my name, or thegreatbooksofhashish.com.
Awesome.
Thank you, Laurence.
Yeah.
That leaf, right? So here, Danny, is this very unusual leaf. You can see it nice and clearly, right, with that lens?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It is unusual.
I looked at Laurence's coloring book, and it went right over my head. I didn't realize that this was Fat Freddy and Phineas Freak with their asses hanging out. And
Which is very typical of them.
I flipped it over. I didn't even see that. And my eyes went right to that, and I went, "Oh, Fat Freddy!" And you have to be an old hippie to remember who Fat Freddy and the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers were. But there were underground comics published by Rip-Off Press back in the 70s, and we had Fat Freddy Freakowski, we had Phineas Freak, and we had Free Will and Franklin. He's not featured here. And we had Fat Freddy's Cat. They were stoner comic books that we used to read back in the 70s. Laurence has done this beautiful coloring book.
64 pages of marijuana leaves in all ways.
Oh, I see all the different leaves.
And also different perspectives. Pure fun.